topic, very important. I think it's something that we've been talking about more and more, and I'm excited about the presentation. It's what stories are driving subscriptions, and we're going to talk about the funnel and other fun stuff that goes along with that. But to start things off, I am going to turn this over to our digital project manager who works right alongside me here in Austin, and that is Ms. Summer Moore.
Thanks, Tim. Hey, everybody. So today, this first part is more of a big picture. So we're going to look at what can newsrooms do to build a loyal audience. First of all, why is this important? Then we're going to look at what the funnel is, how it works, and then what are some best practices that others in the industry are using right now. So why is it important? Number one, it's understanding your audience. So understanding what they're reading, what they're interested in, what's driving them further down the funnel, and I'll describe what the funnel is. Moving readers towards subscriptions creates loyalty for your brand, and of course, more subscribers equals more revenue. So what is the funnel? So this is something that's kind of been going around in industry news. If a lot of you may have seen it or not, but it's sort of this idea that we've got all this sideways traffic coming in, and these are all casual readers. So a lot of times, casual readers are seeing one story a month, or maybe less, maybe more, but usually around one. And then interested readers are seeing a little bit more. Loyal readers are seeing more. And then converted are those that are dedicated to your brand, and then those become subscribers.
By the way, let me just point out, Summer, any of the links, so as it says, the idea, that link is not live in your presentation right now, but when I send you the slideshow after, it will be. So just so folks know that they can click through to all this fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll all be on the presentation when we send it to you. Thanks, Tim. So grab as many casual readers as possible and turn the highest percentage of those into paying subscribers. That's what we're talking about. So our awesome data scientist, Sherry, put together a great simplified morning report, and I wanted to point out a few new things that have shown up. So if you go to your simplified morning report now, she has it broken up down by reader segment, and we are pulling these from Google News Initiative. So these are the same terms and measurements that Google is using. So we've got casual readers are the ones that are seeing one story in 30 days. Loyal users are seeing between 2 and 14 stories a month. And then brand lovers are seeing over 14. Because of our paywall, those are likely subscribers. This is not connected to piano data right now, so we don't know that for sure. But we do know that most people would have to be past the paywall at that point. So casual readers are people that interact with journalism a lot. So this is sort of an ongoing relationship. Casual readers are people that are finding your stories from social. They're your sideways traffic. They're people that are finding you on Google. So they're not necessarily coming to your brand because it's your brand, but they're coming to your story because of the story. So this is something, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grab people and work their way down the funnel. So hopefully catch them with another view, your videos, your audios, or another link to another story. That's what you're trying to do with your casual readers. So that's what casual readers are. We know that casual readers do a lot of looking. So API just released this really great study called Path to Subscription. It says 74% of subscribers engaged with the 90 newspapers they studied for at least a few months before deciding to subscribe. So you can see in that chart over there that a lot of people, almost 50%, engaged with the paper for a year or more before deciding to subscribe. So these are people that are familiar with your brand. They're probably testing you a little bit. So it's important to make sure that all of your sideways traffic is really engaged using all the things that we've talked about with SEO to get them coming back.
And by the way, this goes to what Bill Church talks about all the time, doing journalism with impact, and how much consistency is the important piece of because like you said, I'm not going to find one incredible, piece of journalism and say, that's it, I'm in. It's typically going to take me time after time after time to come back. So it has to be something where you're consistently giving them something to want to come back to and then eventually get in, right?
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about who those people are. So when we're talking about paths that people take from casual to brand loyal, we've got paywall converters, so people that hit the paywall. We've got locally engaged people, so people that live in your community and decide they need to subscribe because they need local news. You've got social media mobile discoverers, and then you've got topic hunters. And I think topic hunters is something really interesting for us and something that we can lean into a little bit, because all of us have, we've been talking about do journalism with impact, but all of us have a thing, right? A thing that we do better than anyone else. So topic hunters, from the same study, as they become engaged with the coverage of a topic, they are also more likely to follow individual journalists who cover this topic on social media. So there's times, your reporters that are covering something that is pretty unique to you, it's really important that they're all over social, right? So these topic hunters often convert to subscribing by becoming so engaged that they hit a paywall meter limit, and they are more likely than others to have encountered an article that impresses them so much that they decide to subscribe. After subscribing, they are highly likely to share those stories on social media. So if you're, a coastal community and you've got an environmental reporter, or you've got somebody that's talking about rising sea levels, those are people that can create this sort of loyal following that can be from anywhere. It's not necessarily local people. But grabbing those topic hunters is something I think we can do a little bit more of, just making sure that your reporters that are very specific to one topic are sharing their stuff very widely and are really active on social. So the next part down in the funnel is loyal readers. So these are the people that are reading between 2 and 14 articles a month. They're not necessarily subscribers, but they're the ones that are like right on that cusp, right, that we're trying to get to convert. So this is where the relationship gets a bit more serious. This is about direct relationships, and this is where newsletters really matter. So this is about becoming part of somebody's day. They are aware of you. They know you exist. They're engaging with you more often than a casual reader. So how do you get them to take that final step, right? And then brand levers. So this is where retention matters. This is where you want to keep people. So some really good tips that I've been reading to reach out to these people and don't ask for money, right? So reaching out to somebody after they subscribe. We do have welcome emails that come from consumer, but I think it's probably good practice to try and figure out who those people are and have somebody in the newsroom reach out. Let them know what you have, what's available for subscribers. If you've got a Facebook group, if you've got some newsletters that you want to point them to, it's a good idea to reach out to people and say, hey, thanks for subscribing, we appreciate it. Here are some things that we're particularly proud of. So again, the Simplified Morning Report not only has those 3 funnels where you can see who's where for a certain amount of time, but it's also broken down to being able to see actual headlines. So this is a little bit hard to see, but it's got the 3 segments there, and then you can actually go over to the left and download this as a CSV. So as however long back you want to look at, what are your brand loyalists reading? What are your casual readers and your loyal readers reading? It's really important to take a look at those things and figure out what the trends are and see what kinds of topics, what kinds of headlines, what are the kinds of things that your most loyal readers are reading, and what are the similarities and what are the differences between your casual and your loyal readers.
And by the way, if you're writing something consistently that's never in any of these categories, start thinking about whether you should be doing that or not.
Absolutely. So what are others doing? I just wanted to point out a few other industry trends that are going on right now. So Metrics for News is something that's done by API, and they're using what they're calling a blended metric. So they're looking at, a story that engages readers because they're getting clicks, but it's also turning people into subscribers. It's also getting a certain amount of social reach, and that's all coming into one metric so that people can judge how their teams are doing, how their individuals are doing. It's really interesting, and it's something that I think is interesting to look at. And one of our newsrooms, the Erie Times News, has been using metrics for news pretty much since they started this. So if you wanted to ask them questions, I'm sure Doug would welcome that. And if you have any questions, definitely reach out to me. But this is pretty interesting that's happening right now, and I recommend looking into the idea of a blended metric. So the Minneapolis Star Tribune, this is from a presentation they did at APME this year in Austin. So they're using a blended metric to adjust coverage. So when they were looking at their blended metrics, what they noticed was a lot of their subscribers were really gravitating towards religion news and spirituality news. So they decided to create a full-time religion spirituality reporter with an emphasis on enterprise, and they've seen really great retention and subscription converts out of this sort of coverage.
Interesting.
And also it's important, I mean, I know this is the Star Tribune. They have more people than most of our newsrooms, but it wasn't a new reporter. This wasn't somebody that they hired. It was somebody who was working on a nonprofit beat, and they just sort of moved that person over to see how this would work, because it was, you know, some of the same sources and really a lot of the same writing, and it worked out really well for them. The Virginian Pilot did a similar thing where they used blended metric to create indexes. So this was their sort of reader segment, but they emphasized local and loyal readers really heavily. So they wanted to make sure that they were saying, like, who in our community, what do they care about? So what they expected, because they're a military community, was it was going to be all military news, like what's going on the base, what the stuff that they need to know about that. But actually what they found out was that people cared much more about where to spend their money. So they created a consumer and retail beat, and they've seen really good subscription numbers out of that. And that's it for this one. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, you will get this sent to you afterwards. You'll get a link to the video and a link to the slides. And please make sure to sign up for the Essentials, which is in 2 weeks. And this is where we're going to really look at some of those headlines.
Thank you, Summer. Yeah, perfect. Great job. And again, share these presentations with other folks in your newsroom. So important that we're making sure that the training trickles down not just to editors and digital editors, but to folks in the field who can put a lot of these practices into habit. So thank you for joining us. And with that,